toxic players, boosting, teammates that throw the game. We all know far too well the darker side of playing League of Legends, and sadly, most of us have been a part of it. But what if there was a player who wasn't just a part of the darkness, but fully embodied it? A man so unrepentantly toxic that his account received a 1,000-year ban. And yet, what if this man was so good at the game that it almost didn't matter? This is the story of the man Riot couldn't stop, the king of solo queue, and arguably the best player of all time, Dopa. I know what you're thinking. Isn't the best player of all time Faker? And the answer to that is probably. Faker is incredibly skilled and has won worlds more times than anyone could ever hope to count. There's no pro that could hold a candle to him. But that's the thing. Dopa never went pro. His success is in a completely different realm from Faker. Where Faker was hands down the best pro player, Dopa was hands down the best solo queue player. Solo queue in LoL functions much differently from pro play, even at the highest level. It's far more random, with far worse communication, and a lot more out of your control. Could you imagine? It's the world's final, Gen G versus SKT, and after one bad play, Chovy gets tilted and decides to run it down mid. No, that would be outrageous. In solo queue, however, it's incredibly common. This is where Dopa excelled. This is where he was king. And he had full claim to this title despite never getting a trophy or entering the Hall of Legends. His throne was the countless players that lay beneath him, as he was ranked 1 every season from Season 3 to Season 10. Every season, for 8 seasons straight, he was the best solo queue player, and yes, Faker was playing in all those seasons. According to Dopa's own words, the rank 1 spot belonged to me. I was the sole owner. The actual rank 1 spot passed through countless different hands, but nevertheless, it always belongs to me. Others may have had possession of the spot, but they only had it because I allowed it. If I wanted it back, I could go and take it any time I pleased. It was like taking a walk in the park. And that really was the case for him too. But the question is, what could possibly make a player so good? What could possibly make him so dominant that whether or not other people achieved the highest rank was based on his choice to fight for it or not? Well, the simple answer is macros. Dopa understood the game in a way no one else, except maybe Faker, did. He boiled down the game to concepts and rules that he felt if he stuck to, he would consistently win. And even if he lost, he still did the right thing. Everything from when to base, how to clear waves, and how to side lane are all pre-planned for him. Regardless of how chaotic the games were, if his concepts were right, he would win far more than he lost. He even goes as far as to say he's not even that good of a League player, and it's simply his understanding of these concepts that make him so dominant. So, what exactly are these concepts? Well, there are a lot of them. Thousands, according to Dopa, and they vary from champion to champion too. So, for this analysis, we'll look at his favorite champion, Twisted Fate. One of his basic concepts on TF is the level 5 double Q. When you hit level 5 on TF, you should hit Q twice immediately, clearing the enemy backline minion and then resetting. Your opponent would push the lane and back to get an item advantage. When you hit the lane, you Q minions to hit level 6, then you have an uncontested ult to roam with. Your opponent would still be walking to lane, and you'd have a level advantage on any lane you gank. Another concept that he uses to win trades is keeping track of minion vision. He would walk in a certain direction and wait for an enemy minion to die, making them lose vision, and then change course for his real objective. This way, he can keep the element of surprise and use the enemy's vision in his favor. Dopa takes it a step further and says you should calculate how long it takes your attacks to hit the minions and use that time to disguise your movements. Yeah, not exactly a basic concept, but to Dopa, understanding these win conditions and what you need to do to stack the cards in your favor was all it really took to dominate. And he was right. Dopa has an unnaturally high win rate. The best example of this was when he participated in a challenge to become rank 1 on the Chinese server to win around $80,000. The only catch was that there was a time limit. For Dopa, this wasn't even a catch at all. He went from unranked to rank 1 in 3 weeks. I'll give you a second for that to sink in. He achieved rank 1 in one of the most competitive servers in the world in under a month. Yet, this wasn't even his most impressive feat. What about achieving rank 1 in the most competitive server in all of League of Legends? There's a Chinese super server when you have to be at least Diamond 1 to enter, and that made it so only the best play here. In this server, even someone who was bronze would be a beast in a normal server. And Dopa managed to climb all the way to rank 1 in this server as well, proving once again that he is the best amongst the best. Now, if you're enjoying this video, I would really appreciate if you leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this. It really means a lot to me, and it helps the channel a lot. Kept it short for you guys, so let's get back into it. So, the question you might be asking yourself is, why was a player so skilled that it was almost comical never a pro? Well, there are 3 reasons for that. The first was that he never really wanted to be. Remember when I said Dopa was everything wrong with the league in one highly skilled, unreasonably talented package? Well, one perfect example of this is the fact that he was a vocal and proficient boaster. He said that he wouldn't go pro simply because the money from boosting was too good. He claims to have even been able to pay off his entire college tuition from boosting players, and this was back when pro players were just getting around minimum wage. He was making so much money from doing what he does best, climbing and solo queue. What most people did as a side hustle, Dopa turned into a full-time career. The second reason Dopa never went pro was because he always had mandatory military service looming in the distance. In South Korea, every male has to serve in the military, and while it can be postponed, it's inevitable. If he ever had a pro career, there was a good chance that it would be cut short. But despite the previous 2 reasons, Dopa still tried to go pro. But it was then that his toxicity and improper conduct came back to bite him. A lady reached out to him to help her boost her account, and he agreed. But according to him, she started trying to have a romantic relationship with him. Dopa, being the Chad he is, didn't date her and instead stopped talking to her. However, this would not end very well for him. Along with a bunch of his friends, he would make a team, fittingly called Team Dark, that would compete in a series of tournaments with the hopes of going pro. Yeah, Dopa, the same guy who said he was making too much money from boosting to ever consider going pro. Why he changed his mind, I could only ever really guess, but I feel that it comes down to one simple fact. No matter how good you are, solo queue is still just solo queue. It isn't nearly as competitive as a highly coordinated professional match filled with only the best players in the region or world. He'd already proven to himself he was the best in solo queue, but was he really better than Faker? Could he face off against the best in a controlled environment without all the chaos and additional factors of solo queue? I wish I knew the answer to this. A world where Team Dark faced off against T1 in the World's Final, Faker against Dopa, that would have been beautiful. But sadly, it only exists in the place of fan theories and speculation. Remember that lady who tried to make moves on Dopa? Well, she's the 3rd reason he never became a competitive player. When she saw that he had ambitions of going pro, she took that information of his boosting straight to Riot and told them to investigate him. And being a professional booster and generally toxic player, they found quite a lot. His pro career came to a sudden end, and he was given a 1,000-year ban, which is much worse for the Korean server than it is for those of us who play on Western servers. In Korea, your account is tied to your social security number, so if he tried to make another account, it would be banned as well. And they stuck to this ban. Even when, and I kid you not, he offered both an apology and $100,000 to Riot. This really speaks more about how much money he was making boosting than anything else. Team Dark would go on to throw their next match against Samsung Ozone to honor the retirement of one of their players, and to have the quickest loss in LOL history.
Uh-oh, PLS getting cold!
They were trying to draw pictures. How rude of him to interrupt them.
It's true, he was nearly called to death. And so there, the 740 inhibitor, Deathmark going down onto Chop. Skarner in big trouble, makes it back to the turret in time. 6 minutes, 42 seconds for that inhibitor, and they're just going to continue it now. Can they do anything? Can they turn this one around, Monte Cristo? analyze.
I mean, this may be the fastest League of Legends game I've ever seen. There's nothing they can really do to push him off the turrets. They have no damage.
What a taunt from It Now. That was beautiful. Beautiful four-man taunt. Unfortunately, the follow-up just wasn't quite there for Team Cloud Templar. And there goes the second Nexus turret. I can't believe we may see this game end before like 9 minutes.
I mean, the problem with
look at all those wards.
Why this is happening? I mean, just to get into it really quick, is
a lot of wards, guys.
The 4 machete start brought no combat stats in.
Oh, really?
So
is that why?
That's why the fights went so heavily in favor of Samsung Ozone early on.
I see.
Yeah, you like my analysis?
I see. I feel enriched. This is why. This is why I like listening to OGN, because I learned so much. That's right. Well, that's a lot of wards. This is really a celebration of Season 3 warding, what we're seeing right now. They're sending off the unlimited ward limits in style. I appreciate that. Another great taunt from It Now. PLS going in real deep, and actually Samsung getting a bit low, but not quite low enough. Double kill for Dandy. Trundle dies to something somewhere. And there goes the Nexus, guys. 8 minutes, the Nexus down to about half health. Can Team Cloud Templar come back? I think it's just too little too late.
Who's MVP this game, though?
I think the fans are. I think Cloud Templar is MVP this game. They're going to give it to him. This is Cloud Templar for MVP, guys.
The fastest game of League of Legends.
In history, easily. I'm just going to make that claim. I don't even care. There it is, GG at 8 minutes, 24 seconds. Samsung Ozone takes down Team Dark.
This was probably largely influenced by the ban on Dopa. Because of this, the team was barred from competitive play, and no member from it ever played competitively again. So, this is how Dopa's brief yet promising career came to an end. Yet, despite never being in a professional game and his 1,000-year ban, he's played against Faker and other top-tier players multiple times in solo queue. Despite Riot's best attempts, Dopa was always able to get himself back on the Rift and always managed to achieve rank 1 even playing against the best player in the world. His account lifecycle went something like this. Get someone to let him use their account, rank it up to rank 1, get banned, then do it all over again. Though, despite being so dominant in solo queue, he never saw himself as better than Faker. For lack of a better term, he was a Faker fanboy, going as far to say that everyone except Faker is trash. Faker was the only person who had a good chance of beating him in lane, and he respected Faker because, according to him, he discovered a lot of concepts that he used in mid. He even went as far as throwing games to ensure that Faker became rank 1. This was a man so dominant that even at the highest level of solo queue, despite being permabanned, he could fix matches and toy with the best. But sadly, Dopa's dominance didn't last forever. 3 years ago, Dopa released a video titled My Legacy. In this, he talks about how the position of rank 1 slowly slipped from his hands. According to him, by Season 9, he felt he was factually a worse player than both Chovy and Showmaker, yet he still managed to get rank 1. However, he felt that he didn't really deserve it. According to him, if he played against Chovy 100 times, he felt he would win 1 game, while if he played against Showmaker, he would do slightly better and win 4 games in 100.
Up on this Jace right now, Chovy.
Oh, great little charm here from Chovy. Azaeus finds himself the shot blast. Chovy still needs to be careful. He flashes to get the orbit deception, and that's the solo kill.
Really big moment there from Chovy.
But come Season 10, there were so many people between him and rank 1, he simply felt that he didn't deserve it, yet managed to claim it anyway. By Season 11, he couldn't get the rank that for so long to find him. Without being rank 1, the name Dopa held no weight to him. He didn't have trophies or titles, and he felt that his legacy was over, and it stood as this. Dopa was the man who stood unchallenged as rank 1 for 8 years. He was the man with a 1,000-year ban that League just couldn't stop. He was a toxic, boosting, AFKing player, yet he was one of the best players to ever walk the Rift. He was Dopa, the Dark King of League.